Let's talk Juwel aquariums. Well, not all Juwel aquariums, but this Juwel aquarium. This is a Juwel RIO 240. I'm going to show you everything about this, how I aquascape this tank, the equipment I'm using, all that sort of nice stuff. So stick around and enjoy. Hello, Geordie Skater here and welcome to my adventures in aquascaping. As I was saying in the intro, this video is all about this Juwel RIO 240, how I aquascaped it, and you'll see some footage of me scaping this tank, and we'll go through all the equipment I'm using and talk about some plants, etc., all that sort of thing. Without further ado, let's just get stuck in, starting with the actual tank and the equipment I'm using. So as I was saying, this is the Juwel RIO 240, really popular aquarium. It measures 121 centimeters in length. I think it's around 55 centimeters top to bottom, and front and back it is 41 centimeters. Good size aquarium, really popular aquarium, and I've had these on and off in different colors for numerous years now. Excellent aquarium if you're just getting started, you want something that's all in one. Speaking of all in one, personally, I always remove the filtration system it comes with. It's got a black filtration housing you usually get, which is in the corner, and I always remove that. It's siliconed on, and all you need is a sharp knife, long blade, to take that off and give it a bit of a clean up. I do have a video where I show you how I remove that filtration system, and if you're interested in watching that, I'll leave a link on the end of the video. You can click on that and see that. So yeah, I choose to remove that, and I've painted the background on this one. I've painted this one white, and it's just to give it that bright, fresh appearance. So simple acrylic white paint, that's all I've done if you're wondering what the background is. If you want to remove that, it comes off really easy with a razor. So you just get the razor and that scrapes acrylic paint off glass really easy, so you're not stuck with it. The filtration that comes with this system, I do remove, and there's nothing wrong with the filtration, it is good quality. I just prefer more room in the tank, so I like to get rid of that and use external filtration. The filtration I'm using is an Oase Biomaster Thermo 850. That's the biggest external filter that comes from Oase, and it's doing a great job of keeping this tank clean, as you can see. Again, if you want to see more information on that particular filter, there'll be a link in the description which is all about that particular filter, the Oase Biomaster Thermo 850. Lighting with this tank, it does come with its own lighting. It's built within the hood, and it's T5 LED tubes. Again, nothing wrong with those lights, they will grow plants, but I'm not the biggest fan of the colour rendition you get. It's a bit of a yellowish hue in the water, which I'm not a fan of. And luckily I was sent these lights by a company called Twinstar. Twinstar make high quality lights, and the lights that they supplied us fit perfect on the Juwel with the adapters you get with them, so the replacements. So I'm running two of those lights on there. These are LED strips with a inline controller, so you can dim them, you can control the time, that sort of thing. And again, for another link, if you want to see a more in-depth view of that light, I've just done a video on that as well. So again, link in the description if that's a video you're interested in. I'm keep giving you these links, but they're there if you want to see more detail of a certain thing I'm talking about. Rather than me going and doing an hour-long video, I do hit the specifics of those pieces of equipment in those videos, so that's why those links are there for you guys if you want to watch. So yeah, great lights, full colour rendition, and as you can see, I just think it makes the greens pop. There's no fish in here yet. I'm still to add fish, which I'm a bit gutted about, but I have to hang on to get some fish, but it'll make the colours of those fish really pop as well. It's growing the plants really well. Plants are growing in nicely. Last week it did have its first trim, so it's not looking its best. Everything's been trimmed quite low. There's loads of colour with the plants I've used in this particular aquarium. So on this video, time recording, it is about a month old, but I will give you regular updates on how this tank's coming along. Once I add the fish, I'll show you a nice video with the fish in, and once the plant's fully growing, rather than wait a full 4 to 6 months and show you how it's looking, I wanted to do this tank in that sort of style, so give you regular updates on how it's going. And as I go, we'll do some maintenance videos, I'll do some trimming videos, anything to help you guys in your aquascaping journey, I'll be doing with this tank. The full system, so the Juwel aquarium, the cabinet, and it comes with the internal filter I was talking about, and it comes with the light within the hood. That retails around about £550. German company, make quality products, and this is a classic. The Juwel RIO 240. So this setup is running CO2. It's running a pressurized CO2 system from CO2 Art. So using additional manifolds, I can run more than one tank. And I've got some CO2 line running from one side of the room across under the window here to this one. So this tank is on an inline system from CO2 Art. So the CO2 comes via the outlet of the filtration. So again, doing a great job of getting CO2 around the tank. Growth has been fine so far. It is going through a bit of a diatom stage. So if you don't know what diatoms is, it's the starter point of a tank. It's a kind of algae, like a brown, fluffy, thready algae. Nothing to worry about, it's totally normal, and it will go away on its own accord. But algae eaters, like I've got some otocinclus in here, and I've got a few amano shrimp. Those really enjoy eating diatoms. So there's bits and bobs lying about, but it was covered last week. So it is starting to sort itself out. But diatoms is perfectly normal. It's part of the process in the early stages of an aquarium, is things are maturing as your filtration's maturing. So again, nothing to worry about. Have had some melt back with some plants, but the majority of the plants have been great. So we've got some Anubias species in here. We've got some Bucephalandra. We've got some trident fern. We've got a mix of stems, mainly Rotella species. So like Rotella green, Rotella rotundifolia. Lots of stems, lots of different colours. And we've got moss attached. Two types of moss. We've got your regular Java moss, and we'll have weeping moss in here. The wood is a mix of Corbo catfish wood, and there's some pieces of hornwood as well, so combined. And once things are settled in the tank, they darken up. You can't really tell the difference between the different types of wood. And the stone, black lava stone, in the gravel is, I can't remember what the gravel is. It's like a light quartz from Hugo Comishi, I think it is. I used the larger green gravel because I needed to get quite deep. And if you use too fine grade of a sand, the sand can compact. So that's why I've used a larger green gravel, because the depth of this here, I don't know if you can see. So we've got the depth. We need a couple of centimeters straight away before we actually see the gravel. So as you can imagine, as that gets to the back, it is quite deep. So that's why I've used the larger green gravel. So a lot of epiphytes are attached, as I was saying, the ferns, the Anubias, Bucephalandra, that's all attached to the wood and stone. The stems are planted in aquarium soil, which is Aquasolum from Aqua Vitro, which is a line from Seachem. So that is a mouthful. It's Seachem's Aqua Vitro, Aquasolum aquarium soil. That's what it is basically. Really good soil, and that gives the right nutrition for the roots of the plants. You'll see more detailed footage I've been overlaying of how I created this composition. The idea was with a 2-island composition with a path running through just off centre. It's kind of based on an aquarium I've done in the past, an aquascape I really liked in the past, but it was more like one side of it, and I've always thought in a bigger tank I'd like to do a double-sided version of it, if that makes sense. Again, you'll see the overlaid footage of the tank I'm talking about. It's always been one of my favourites, and that was in a 60cm aquarium, so this is double the size. And like I say, I wanted to make like a kind of a mirror effect of that particular aquarium. So that was the idea behind the actual composition. I deliberately wanted lots of colour on this one, but that's why I chose to use CO2. I have got another aquarium just next to it, which is another Juwel aquarium, which is low tech, low energy, no CO2 injection. You'll see a video of that very soon. So we've got the best of both worlds. Lots of colour, CO2 injected. Next door, we have a lot of green plants, not as much colour, with no CO2. So like I say, keep an eye out for videos of that particular scape coming up. Fish wise, I'm thinking just a nice community of tetra. I've always been a big fan of tetra fish, so it'd be nice to have about 3 to 5 schools of some nice tetra. The obvious ones coming to mind are cardinals, my favourite ember tetras, but because I've got the 2 tanks, I haven't decided which fish I'm going to put in which tank. I think more so the bright coloured fish, like the cardinals I was saying, will probably go in the other tank, because that's mainly green and dark. So I think the highlight will be the bright fish. So it might be some more neutral fish in here. Another fish I've thought about is a fish I've never had but I've always loved. Dwarf neon rainbows. They're stunning little fish. I'm saying little, they're not little. That's why they'll suit this aquarium. Yeah, nice school of dwarf neon rainbows. I'm thinking they're like a blue colour with a yellowish, orange, reddish tail. I think them could be the main plant in this one. Plant? Not plant. Main fish. So let us know in the comments, guys. Let us know what fish would you put in here, and what do you think of dwarf neon rainbows. Would you think that would be a good choice for this tank? I think they're the ones that are my favourites at the minute. So it'll probably happen. Once it's in my head, it'll probably happen. So one last thing to cover before I leave you guys, and that is my fertilisation dosing routine on this tank. For the first 2 weeks, I was changing around about 50% of the water every day. I know that seems a lot, but I just prefer that way. I always like to dilute the water just to give things a good start in a newly planted aquarium. 50% of the water for a week and just gradually brought them down. I was dosing with one product daily, and that is Seachem Flourish Advance. Seachem Flourish Advance, what that does is stimulate root and bud growth, especially in the early stages when plants are just settling. It's like the settling period, so it's just helping those plants along. So little baby plants, it's giving them a hand to help develop. After that 2 weeks, now I'm on once a week water change, roughly 40 to 50% I do. And I dose with Seachem Flourish Trace, so that's all the trace elements. I dose with potassium, and the reason I dose those quite regular, usually on a daily basis or at least every other day. Those elements deplete quite quick in a planted tank environment, so trace elements, all your metals and potassium. So those are what I'm dosing on a regular basis. It's now time, I think the plants have settled like a month after, I will start introducing iron. I'll probably start dosing that 2-3 times a week. And because there's no fish in, nitrates will be really low, and I'll probably dose nitrogen twice a week as well. I'm not going to get loads of complex details about dosing at the minute. I think it's all a bit overwhelming when you first get into the hobby. You can use an all-in-one if you choose to do that. That's entirely up to yourself. The reason I dose separate is because I like to add, take away anything I think it needs, especially as the tank matures. I've got videos covering dosing routines I've used, but what I'll do a fresh video which will show you my dosing routine on this tank. So what we'll have is a whole series of videos on the Juwel RIO 240. So you'll know about the lighting, the dosing, all that. It's all based on this setup, and we'll do that as we go. Again, with the Juwel RIO 180, which is next door to it, low tech, low energy, you'll see exactly what goes on with that tank as well in a series of videos specifically on that aquarium. I hope that makes sense. So that's it, guys, for this video. That's a general overview of this Juwel RIO 240 and what's been going on with it. There'll be lots more videos coming on other aquariums as well as this aquarium. So hit that subscribe button. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and it really is appreciated. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate your support. Till next video, see you later.